Today's sponsor is Marvel Contest of Champions, developed by Kabam. Contest of Champions has been the premier Marvel fighting game for 10 years now, so it's the place to go if you want to see who'll win, Hulk or Sentry, or of course, my favorite to take any head-to-head, Squirrel Girl. Well, now one of the biggest mobile games is coming to Steam, so if you're looking to jump in, there's no better time to check it out. At 60 FPS, the game has enhanced visuals with upgraded character textures. You can even now use a mouse, keyboard, or controller for your in-game battles, leaving you plenty of options to play the game at the complexity you want. If you're already on the mobile version, awesome. Crossplay is fully compatible. Marvel Contest of Champions blends RPG character possession and lightning-fast fighting game mechanics for all your favorite Marvel characters. If you've been here for a long time, you know I absolutely love my RPG character progression, and this gives that as you build a team with all your favorites to take them into competitive metagame battling. You can build an ultimate team that's like the most meted out thing. You can play your favorites whatever you want. There's a playstyle for everyone. If you love Marvel, this game has over 300 characters, all totally unique with more added monthly. I'm so excited for the new Fantastic Four movie coming in July, and this game is making my hype explode as I can play with the OG Fantastic Four and all their villains kneel before doom. If you want fast-paced gameplay, character progression, and the best Marvel characters, the game is completely free on Steam. A big shout out to Kabam for sponsoring the video and making such a great game. Head on over to Steam and wishlist now because Marvel Contest of Champions is launching on Steam any day now. Hello everyone and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and we've got 4 great decks for you today, including some from some top players and our review and preview of the Ancient One. We're going to kick it off, however, with the thumbnail deck. This is Burz Mazzo 23, which is just deck 23. Burz is an Italian player who's in the top 10 of the Infinite Leaderboard basically every season that he plays. He finished around rank 8 last season. He's been as high as 4 previously. He basically plays a lot of really fun stuff for most of the season, experiments, finds good decks, and then the last week or two of the season climbs by playing just the best stuff and doing great. So he played this deck, he climbed into the top 20, and then he went, okay, I got it, this is something I can come back to later. But our friends who are having trouble climbing, we can play this right now. This deck needs Mercury, Cannonball, War Machine, and Surge, which means it's not cheap, but it's also not like incredibly expensive. Cannonball and I believe War Machine are Series 4 cards. Mercury is a Series 4 card, and most people already seem to own Surge, so this is an affordable deck to get into. We'll have another one of those later this video. We've got another budget deck for you. Luna Snow here can be Psylocke or Jennifer Gale. In fact, Burz does not own Luna Snow and is running Psylocke in that spot. Blob here can be Red Hulk or Magneto. Blob is genuinely great, but it's perfectly replaceable as well. You're fundamentally playing Blob when you don't have Infinite, so Blob hits Infinite and then becomes stupid anyway. Alright, so let's go card by card. Sunspots here because you're very often skipping turn 5. If you are skipping that turn 5, what you're fundamentally going to end up doing is Sunspot grows, right? Like, it's just that simple. If you end up skipping turn 6 because of magic, same basic concept. Here we have Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw is great because of War Machine. You do not play this card without War Machine, but once War Machine is out, Ebony Maw has fundamentally no downside. Obviously, be careful with this card if you think your opponent has Enchantress. Do yourself a favor if you played Ebony Maw before War Machine. If you're going to play Ebony Maw after War Machine, make sure they're in the same lane, so if your opponent decides to Enchantress, you're not there locked out of that lane. It will make your life easier. Mercury is here. A, it counters a few decks, but B, it is an auto kill with Cannonball. Mercury plus Cannonball is a lane-winning version of Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi can win, but at 3 power, he's less likely to actually dominate a lane, whereas Mercury all but guarantees you 1 lane when combined with Cannonball, and counters some of the more annoying decks in the meta. Surge gives you just basically extra tempo here. Extra tempo and extra power makes you harder to predict, easier to win. Surge has quickly become just an auto-include in most decks. Magic and Luna have the same basic role here. One of the main strategies you'd like to do is you'd like to pass turn 5 and then go She-Hulk Infinite, She-Hulk Blob, or She-Hulk Cannonball, some combination thereof. If you have Magic, you can do a larger combination where, like, if you go Magic and Luna, you can spend your, like, turn 5 playing Blob, pass turn 6, and then end up playing, like, a She-Hulk and a Cannonball, or She-Hulk and an Infinite on turn 7, just fine, which is utterly disgusting. Those cards do the same thing. Again, War Machine means that you don't necessarily have to pass that last turn. If you don't see She-Hulk, you're not always going to see She-Hulk, just being able to cold drop War Machine. You go Luna, War Machine, Infinite. You're pretty damn happy, right? And you still have a Blob to play or a Cannonball Mercury to play on that last turn. Professor X is a lane lockdown that you can get into thanks to War Machine, so you can just cold go Luna Snow into Professor X. At that point, you can drop Magic, and then you can play War Machine. You can still get into that Professor X lane just fine. It also will keep that Shard alive and give you that power as well. Cannonball with Mercury is an auto kill. It's also just a very powerful card, particularly if you don't play Professor X and the opponent ends up clogged. Blob is big, right? Like, you've just got a lot of stats left in the deck. You'll know when to play it and when not to if you pay attention to your deck. She-Hulk is meant to be a free or 110, which is very, very strong here. And of course, Infinite is the biggest card in the game at terms of base stats. So, top 20, there's a million different plays, but the one basic pattern here is Sunspot. You play Maul only if you already have War Machine, but again, be careful. Turn 2, Surge over Mercury. Turn 3, Luna over Magic. Turn 3, War Machine or Professor X. You can also do earlier plays here. Luna and Magic are both perfectly fine to play in concert because you have so many big things. Turn 5, you want to pass if She-Hulk. You can also end up just dropping a Blob here, perfectly fine. You can Cannonball if, kill if you know you're going to play Infinite. If you went War Machine and you already have Mercury out now, you can end up using Cannonball right here, blow up some of their important stuff, and then win a different lane with Infinite. Some combination then of Cannonball, Infinite, Blob, and She-Hulk. Infinite and Maw or Blob and Maw works just fine too. This deck puts up a stupid amount of points. It is very easy to see when you're going to win and when you're going to lose. Obviously, be wary of Shang-Chi, but you have Professor X, which really helps for that. And because you're passing so many turns, you often end up losing Prio, which really helps for the Cannonball too. This list is an absolute monster, and I cannot urge you to give it a try enough. I put it right at the front of the video because I don't want you to miss it. I want you to have the opportunity to play this absolutely killer deck. Before we get to our review of the Ancient One, please, if you're willing to hit that sub button, we bring you a new Marvel Snap video every single day here on this channel, very often 2 videos a day. We will have exclusive content from Second Dinner coming later this week. If you want the best and most Marvel Snap content, please hit that sub, like, and comment. It would really, really help us out. It means the absolute world for your support. And we are giving away Merlins. I'm giving away another 1 to 2 this week. I haven't decided. I might actually go up to 2 because I want more people to have Merlin because he's such a damn great card. But all you have to do is sub, like, and then leave a comment later this video in order to get your free Merlin. Next up, we've got the Ancient One, who is a 3/5. On reveal, add a Dao Mandala to your hand. Dao Mandala is a 3-cost skill, that says your characters here, copy the text of one of your ongoing cards here. So what that means, so once Ancient One is played, you basically want to play that in the same lane as one of your ongoings that you want to copy. You then, with one other ongoing, you end up with 3 copies of that ongoing. That's amazing with cards like Cerebro, if you can make it happen for Cerebro 5. That's amazing with the card, Victoria Hand, and there's not many other targets that I'm really going crazy for. Yes, you can copy an Iron Man. Yes, you can copy a Mystique. Yes, you can copy a Ravonna, a Quinjet. All those are nice. I don't expect them to be great. Largely because you're playing a 3/5 along with another 3, and that's a fairly heavy cost. I think that this can work in Cerebro 5. Cerebro 5 has never been a meta deck, but Cerebro has also never given 3 power before a couple weeks ago, so it's possible that's a deck. We're going to test that on stream, but the place I want to actually start is Victoria Hand, and this list isn't quite perfect, but this is more or less where I'm going to start. A deck that looks like this. I think Shadow King might want to end up being, as powerful as Shadow King is, might want to end up being Kate Bishop. I need one more generator here, I feel like, in order to really make this sing, for when I don't want Infinity Ultron. But this list seems like it's really good. Most of the best Victoria Hand lists right now are running Infinity Ultron, but I don't think we necessarily need to. This is my list. I will be streaming around 8 p.m. tonight is the plan, and I will test a million decks way too late and be exhausted by the time I'm done, but I end up going super late. My longest stream outside of a weekend is usually the new card stream where we go over all the new stuff. This deck needs Victoria Hand and Frigga. Oh, by the way, if you're a regular viewer of the streams and you're wondering where the hell I've been, I'll announce what the hell is happening in my life that's made my streams more sporadic than usual. I'm usually the most consistent person in the game, right? Like, we have a video every day, we have a stream exactly when scheduled, and the streams have been a little less than scheduled. We'll never miss a video, but the streams have been a little less than scheduled. I will announce why tonight, just, if you happen to stream ask. Alright, so this deck needs Victoria Hand and Frigga. Iron Patriot can be Kate Bishop, Venom, Misery, Merlin, and Kahori. Oh, by the way, Iron Patriot could also be if you don't have Kate, Mirage. Yeah, that's her name. Alright, because her name is Danny Moonstar, and I always want to call her Moonstar. Alright, Infinity Ultron can be Coulson. You just want some generators here. Anti-Venom Misery we've got to actually talk about. I'm not sure if Anti-Venom Misery is still the better package for Victoria Hand, or whether that's going to be Merlin and Kahori now. It's going to take some testing and time to tell which of those two is better. Kahori is a really, really great closer in that deck. Ancient One can be Copycat or Moonstone. Red Guardian can be Mobius, and I'm going to be experimenting with the cards Cape Bishop, Merlin, Kahori, and Collector. I think all of those might have some real powerful homes here. Although, again, figuring out the exact right cards, the exact right curve is going to be the challenge. I miss having Esme here because I love the extra chance at either Infinity Ultron or Victoria Hand. Again, there's things to mess with in this build, but I do think it's important. So Hood is sort of the key to Victoria Hand decks, multiple Victoria Hand decks, because he makes a demon, which is 1/6, that becomes 1/8, 1/10, 1/12, potentially. Cards that you can make bigger with that Tau Mandala, which all seems all around excellent, right? In order to get rid of the Hood in this deck, we're running Misery. That is the only real way to do so. I would love Merlin, but c'est la vie. Getting rid of it with Misery is fine, but if we're getting big enough, otherwise it shouldn't be a huge problem. Quinjet is here to make the cards regenerate cheaper. In this case, that's the Tau Mandala, whatever Frigga copies, and Infinity Ultron Stones. Those being cheaper are all incredibly important. I think Quinjet is sort of going to be a must because the Tau Mandala costing 2 is way better. Shadow King is our one of our 2 control cards, along with Red Guardian. Our control cards have to be cheap because we are running a heavier curve, so we're running the 2 good cheap control cards. Iron Patriot gives us another cheap, powerful card, although that's made discounted by Quinjet, and it's fairly easy to win the Iron Patriot lane. I'm going to go over the Burrs play. Burrs told me about this play, and it's one that I've used to steal a lot of cubes. You play Hood on 1 or 2. On turn 3, you play Iron Patriot and Demon in that Hood lane. On turn 4, if you play Misery on them, you now have that 14 power Misery lane because you killed the Hood and Iron Patriot. You get the extra discounted Iron Patriot card, you get the extra demons, and you should be good to go. That should be an extremely powerful way to win a lot of games of Snap. That's obviously a game you're not playing the Ancient One, which is kind of my concern with the card, right? I just think the cost ends up slightly awkward. I hope I'm wrong. Victoria Hand buffs anything you create, and we're not creating a million cards. That's kind of the problem here. We are creating demons, ideally multiple demons, Iron Patriot cards, and we're frigging something, and Infinity Ultron Stones. The Infinity Ultron Stones getting better power for the most part now does help, though. Red Guardian, control card. Frigga is meant to copy Victoria Hand. Don't be afraid to copy a demon either. All those are fine. Sometimes Anti-Venom Hit's a really good card to copy too. Ancient Ones creates the Tau Mandala, and you play that in the same lane, ideally as Victoria Hand. There are games where you're going to be able to play the Tau Mandala on the Quinjet and feel totally fine too, because you'll just like have Frigga a more expensive card or something, right? And you'll just be like, all right, cool, I'll take a 1-cost Tau Mandala and just go to, I guess once you've played the Tau Mandala, it's no longer a 1-cost Tau Mandala. You're a little sad there, but you can Frigga whatever the hell the Tau Mandala hit as well and just do some good stuff. Luna gives you a way to play Infinity Ultron early. That's her main use here. Having extra energy is just very useful for this deck, though. Anti-Venom gives you powerful hits. Shadow King and Anti-Venom are a combo here, where if you want the power back on that Anti-Venom card, Shadow King does that for you. Misery is here for Hood. You're not super sad to hit like a Shadow King a second time sometimes, and so on, but it's really here for Hood. And then, of course, we have Infinity Ultron. Infinity Ultron being just really, really solid right now with Victoria Hand, creating 2 generated cards and working well. So turn 1 Quinjet over Hood. Turn 2 Victoria Hand is better than Iron Patriot is better than 1. Turn 3 Frigga, the Victoria Hand or Ancient, or you can drop Ancient One. If you have Victoria Hand and you play Ancient One, you can consider snapping. The Patron Demon play described on the previous area is still true, and you can also use Luna if you have the Infinity Ultron. Turn 4, it depends on what you're doing on 3. You can Misery a pile, you can play Infinity Ultron, you can Patriot and Victoria Hand here. Iron Patriot, Victoria Hand is good here, because this is your last Iron Patriot turn. Turn 5, Hand and Dow, or generate cards, and you can just play Infinity Ultron here too. Then turn 6, you play all your generated stuff out, and hopefully win the game of Marvel Snap. I'm not sure if I'm on Misery and Anti-Venom here, or Kahori and Merlin. I've gone back and forth 8 times as I'm talking about this. I think I might be back on the Merlin and Kahori train. It's really hard. At that point, I probably won't get Bishop back in the list, and now we're mix and matching. I think this is a very mix and matchy list right now. I don't think anyone knows exactly what the right version is, but I'm excited to find out, and the Ancient One gives it another extremely powerful tool. Is that tool going to push this into the meta and make it good enough to be worth playing? That is the question we're all going to have to answer. My guess is honestly probably no. My guess is that this probably ends up a card that's good later down the line when we get some more cheap ongoings than it is now. But the caveat to that is fundamentally like I mean, I guess Captain America is a decent hit. There's just so few hits I really care about with this card. So, and I can't run many ongoings in the list because then I'm running into it. I don't know. My guess is this card is kind of a miss. It's a good card, but not a great one. But if you are getting it, this is the type of deck I'd play it in. Come check out the stream tonight, twitch.tv/pulseglazer. Don't miss it. Be there. Big announcement. Maybe I'll do a giveaway on stream. But yeah, let's give away a Merlin. We'll give away a Merlin on stream tonight. Someone who watched this video is going to have to remind me, though, because y'all know I will forget. All right, our Season Pass question is really simple. What do you expect of the Ancient One? Cool. All All right, GamingWithFlashX introduced me to the idea of this player called Swedish Ninja, who plays at like 6,000 CL and is like crushing, beating all sorts of top players and absolutely great at Marvel Snap, and created this control list for low CL players. I think this one is a really cool starting spot, and thus I wanted to share it with you, and hopefully we'll be seeing more of the Swedish Ninja in the future. So, GamingWithFlashX is how you can find Flash, and Swedish Ninja is all around the community right now. The I is a number 1. If you're interested, you'll probably see him in some streams. This deck needs Sasquatch, Gwenpool, Surge, and Merlin. Red Guardian can be Gladiator or Negasonic. This is a budget deck, however, despite its reasonable, despite it running, like Gwenpool is Series 5, right? Sasquatch is Series 4, Merlin is money, and, what's the last card? And Surge is a card that everyone should probably own right now. I think Surge is probably just, you should have that card. My concern with Surge remains, sorry, I know this isn't about this deck, remains that in a month, less than a month now, Mr. Fantastic comes out, and I'm not sure how you run both, and I'm not sure if Mr. Fantastic or Surge is better, and if Mr. Fantastic is better, then we sort of wasted money on Surge, and that replaces it in all the decks. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Alright. Echo is here as a control card, which is really, really cool. Echo has the ability to just snipe things, but also, people are blind to Echo and just play on top of it. You can also save Echo for later in the game. Electra is really good. There's Batrock all over the place. There's all these powerful cards that Electra can really help handle. She's not terribly important for the list, but you do want an extra 1 to play because you want to make your Sasquatch as cheap as possible. Your goal is to get Sasquatch down to 2 on the last turn, and Electra really having access to a 1-drop that you want to play late that has power really does do that. And Electra might not look like she has power. You might want to run like a rocket there if you're so inclined. But what Electra's power is she can be fundamentally like, if she hits a demon, she's a 1/8, right? So that's very good. Zabu is amazingly useful. Zabu means you only need to get Sasquatch down to 3, which is really useful if it hits Shang or Enchantress. Surge makes things cheaper. Again, making things cheaper is important. Zabu and Surge in a ton of decks, usually with a bunch of 4s. Merlin helps give you use out of these extra cheap cards, including the Mysterio clones, which is very, very useful, while his spells also count as cards to play and get rid of some negative locations. Merlin is meant to generally be played on turn 5, ideally with like a couple of Merlin spells that are going to make Sasquatch really cheap and allow you to go off at the end of the game. Mobius says, I get to cheat energy, and you don't. Red Guardian turns off some problem cards. Shang-Chi and Enchantress are your control cards. And then Gwenpool adds a bunch of power, ideally hitting Mysterio, at which point you're not going to transform Mysterio, because then you can get a Dr. Doom's worth of power out of Mysterio, but honestly, hitting anything is kind of pretty good here. You're not sad to make anything bigger and harder to predict. And then again, Sasquatch at the end of the game is very often a base like 3 to free card. If you play Mysterio, right, and then you play one of Merlin's spells and Electra, you now have a 1-cost, nope, that's 3, 4, 5. You have a 1-cost Sasquatch. That's pretty good. Assuming you hit anything with Merlin or Zabu, you can now do some truly silly things at the end of the game. Turn 1, Zabu over Echo. Turn 2, Surge over Merlin. Turn 3, Mobius over 2. You can feel free to get Merlin out here. If you drew a Surge, drop a Surge. Turn 4, you would very much like to Gwenpool, and if Gwenpool hits the right targets, consider snapping over earlier plays. Turn 5, you want Mysterio and every card you can. That's like sort of the key thing. If you don't see Mysterio, you can just play, I missed one energy. You can make Sasquatch free if you play Mysterio, because that's 3, and then you still have 3 more 1-drops to play, right? At that point, Sasquatch is free. Sorry, my bad. So, Mysterio, and play all you can. You can just play 5 energy worth of 1-drops and Merlin cards here. You want to try and hoard them for this, because again, you want that free Sasquatch, and then because you've thrown priority, because you've played very little power, Sasquatch gives you power, and then Shang, Enchantress, Red Guardian give you the win. It's a beaut. It's a great idea. Props to SW Ninja. Thanks to Flash for introducing me to this great deck. Great deck. If you're looking for a budget way to compete, I urge you to look in this direction. If you are looking for some content creation help, if you are looking to get into thumbnails or anything else, please check out my friend BitTwiddle, who's relatively cheap compared to basically everyone else and is super duper helpful. Go check him out right here. Next up, we've got Ozer's BK Robolist. Okay. This one is just really cool. Most people don't have Thunderbolt Ross. I'm aware most people don't have Thunderbolt Ross, but like when a Thunderbolt Ross deck comes across my virtual desk, I feel like I have to feature it because it's so rare that happens. This one is a Black Knight deck, and I don't think I ever realized how good for Black Knight decks Thunderbolt Ross would be, and it absolutely sings. And also, Jennifer Kale gives it a lot of extra space. Why do we still not have the Jennifer Kale proper logo? That's ridiculous. All right, you can check out Fozzer at twitter.com/FozzerSnap. Robo Plays on Twitch also plays a lot of this deck. Fozzer made it for Robo. This deck only really needs Black Knight. Again, very budget day today, right? Kale or Thunderbolt Ross can be Surge. I know that's expensive, but everyone should own Surge. You can also try Psylocke. Hope can be Luna Snow. All right, so Sunspot does the same thing here. You're not skipping turn 6 here, ideally, but you can skip turn 5 to do She-Hulk and something else for an absolute ton of power. She-Hulk here, if you played a card on Hope on 4, can still be free on 5 to be played with Gigantor or Infinite, but She-Hulk can also be played with a Shard or a Ghost Rider for great effect. Black Knight is one of the key cards of the deck. You would like to discard Giganto for a 16 power shard or Infinite for a 20 power shard. You would also like to bring that card back with Ghost Rider. That's one of the main strategies of the deck. Those cards are enough power to really be able to work. Blade is one of your 2 discard outlets. Blade and Lady Sif are the way you discard those She-Hulk, Giganto, and Infinites, so that works. Jennifer Kale lets you be able to play the earlier skip. It lets you be able to skip and get the totally free She-Hulk on turn 6 without having to compromise your later plays, without having to necessarily do anything silly. You can also play a 6 on turn 5 with her. Like if you want to play Giganto on turn 5, you can use her for that as well. It gives you lots of extra things. It lets you do like Black Knight and Lady Sif at times when you would need to, or play a Shard and still do something else. Like lots of really cool stuff here from Jennifer Kale, who is severely underrated at this point. Thunderbolt Ross makes you see your 6s, which is very important. Turns out, if you don't see your 6s, this deck completely collapses. Also, thinning your deck so you see the discards is pretty good too. Mobius, you want to cheat, you don't want your opponents to cheat, and keeping them in check is important. Hope gives you that extra energy, same basic concept as Kale here. Lady Sif is your second discarder, much more stats than Blade, and if you skipped an energy, it will hit Gigantor Infinite, not She-Hulk, which is really nice. Ghost Rider brings them back, and then we have the big stuff that you understand. So Fozzer absolutely cooked here. Turn 1, Black Knight over Sunspot. Blade when a big card and Black Knight is out, or Ghost Rider's in hand. Turn 2, Ross or Kale. If you have Hope, it's almost always Ross. If you have your big cards in hand, it's always Kale. You get the idea. Hope over Ross Kale, and Sif is pretty great here too if you have Black Knight out and a good target. Turn 4, card on Hope, Ghost Rider or Sif, usually. Turn 5, we pass if we have She-Hulk Infinite. We can also just play Giganto or Shard or Ghost Rider here, totally fine. Turn 6, She-Hulk plus, Infinite, Shard, or Rider, and then win. Tons of points. This is the points meta, where people are doing sort of fair points, where the numbers on the cards matter, not necessarily at how much they scale, and that's a really great place for Black Knight to exist. Super powerful deck, super cool stuff. Give it a try. Go play it. I don't think you'll be sad. We don't actually have a question of the day. In fact, we instead have Unity's top 8 deck. Unity played in the tournament that happened over the weekend. He finished in the top 8 of nearly 1,000 players. Absolute monster of a player. Often in and around the top 10 of the leaderboard. Was in fact in the top 10 last season. The deck that won is a deck that is 2 cards off this instead of Lady Deathstrike and Iron Patriot. It's running a couple of different cards, and Shadow King, 3 cards off of this. It's running a few different cards, but it's the same basic concept, and I wanted to give anyone who is in the top 8 that I couldn't get in touch with right away a chance to say their piece about the tournament, and so here's what Unity had to say. You can find Unity first at twitter.com/unity0919. I asked why Unity decided to play the deck, because I decided to play this tournament purely to enjoy it, and it's a powerful deck that has won 20 consecutive Infinity Conquests in the recent past. That's kind of absurd, that this has won 20 straight Infinity Conquest. Wild. In the Conquest format, this deck can take the lead from early stages and can be considered a better version of the Thanos deck. I was torn between this and Move Bounce, but I thought the number of Mercury decks would increase, so I changed last minute. Makes sense? Thanos and Arishem did better than Move Bounce, thanks to Mercury in this tournament. That is a perfectly valid take. Mercury was only 10% of the field, but a lot of the people who had Mercury and played Mercury did quite well. The most difficult match was against a Fenris deck. I was afraid of losing to Fenris's counter, so I couldn't snap with confidence. Yep, so as soon as the opponent drops Fenris, you have to be very, very careful. If you get your stuff shonged early, because you can play stuff early, they get to really beat you down. The best match was against Worm, who won the tournament. He had the same 34-card deck as me, and it was a thrilling match. We played 2 rounds, 1 win, 1 loss, and I think we both did our best. Yep, so on Swiss, in the basically regular season for any sports fans out there, in the regular season, Unity was able to win, but in the playoffs, Roram eliminated Unity. Really, really great games. I know that people don't like Arishem, and I'm going to talk about Arishem in a minute. We'll actually go back to the title so I can give a little Arishem spiel in a moment, because I saw a lot of comments yesterday that I don't think I agree with. But yeah, we'll go on. So, Unity says, I went into the tournament with the intention of having fun, so I'm very surprised I've made it to the top 8. I'm happy with the result, and thank you for the fun 2 days. I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to everyone involved in the event. I mainly play ladder, but I hope that someday I'll be able to show you an exciting match in a tournament like this one. Thank you. With a little heart. So kind. Unity seems like a really great person. Every interaction I've had, very, very kind. Always willing to share decks and ideas. Alright, so a lot of people, the result of the tournament win from Roram, and this deck being the top 8, has been people screaming about how obnoxious Arishem is. And make no mistake, Arishem makes this deck significantly better. But Arishem is not, right now, a, how do I put this, problem. Arishem without Thanos is not a deck that matters right now. It's not a tier 1 deck. I don't think it's even necessarily a tier 2 deck. Without Thanos, Arishem is fine. What Thanos adds to Arishem is twofold. One, it adds draw. Arishem can draw absolutely terrible cards or it can draw great cards. It's more likely to draw great cards, but when it gets extra draw, it draws far more of cards, and thus the average, since more are likely to be great, really favors the card. That is one of the real reasons that Thanos is here. The other reason that Thanos is really, really great is that Thanos starts in your hand. Thanos starting in your hand is so incredibly freaking powerful in this list. It's really hard to overstate. Thanos being there as a 5 play, you can always play it on 5 as a 5/12. You can very often play it on 4 as on turn 4, right? Like if you play a Time Stone, Thanos now costs 5, you have 5 energy on turn 4. That's insane tempo. Between those two things, that's what's creating the Arishem problem. There were like 6 Thanos decks in the top 16, and 4 made the top 8. Thanos is the problem, friends, not Arishem. I know Arishem can be frustrating. Arishem has spent time as the best card in the game, but it's not the problem. Thanos is still, after the nerfs, the best card and the best thing to do. And when you put Thanos in a shell, that shell often breaks. Thanos is what lets you do the control soup and all these other things. Arishem can try that, but without the draw that enables it, it is much, much more difficult to pull off. It's much less of a threatening deck. Again, a good deck to be sure, but not a tier 1 or great one without Thanos, which breaks almost everything it touches. We have a Patreon, certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. I'd like to say thank you to the following people: Bricks2Click, Abigail Newson, Mandatory Burnout, It Regardless, LAB Inc. I am Frostman. What's up, Frosty? Check out Frostman on Twitch, please. Hotan Evidente Thinking Poker. Check out the Thinking Poker podcast. Prime Brian. Check out the Prime Mind app. Ryan Burke. Berkey, Ryan Wood Snap, check out that YouTube channel for some great Snap content. Ren Wrench, Caretix Lee, the King of Questions. Koi Ray, coming all the way from Japan. Kazushi, killing it on ladder lately. Archangel 3K, 4K in a row. Black Dahlia, Alliance Leader. Perfrost, Alliance Leader. The Goat Seeker, Goatsy, Alliance Leader. Code, Alliance Leader Town, along with Hallowed, Only, Fox, Synth, Rhetoric, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, Dirty Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger, Prime, Philly, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, we got a Philly deck tomorrow, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Biz Up, Black Tubes 23, Extras V and Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, Jessica Gamble, Sup Jess, Mr. Slush Death, if you nasty, The King of Bros, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kev, Ziota, Ludacris, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Silverman, David G. Wingfield, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., Mr. Craig Sterry, along with special guest Matt V, and now Corey, real name town is Humongous, Corwin, John Cuban, Jimmy Cube, Cube Town, You Stout, 8th Sage, One Big Man, Mythman for Reals, Cactus Jack, my favorite Foley, no mankind here, Reapser, BG, Yo Marco, Quid Pro Joe, Snapchat Joe, check out the Snapchat podcast, please. DeCarlo220, check him out on Twitch. Models Monster Peen, Bickety Boom Bop, Green Goblin, Unibot Flan 56. Oh, sorry, Unibot V2 needs to be checked out on YouTube as well. Flan 56, The Fazan Spectrumix, Ood Ocularis, Matt H, DJ, Mikey Hijinks, Don't Freaking Flex, Nick the Greek Geeks up, Nikki, Toxic Soul King, check out Nick on Twitch too. Toxic Soul King on Twitch, Sodric74 on Twitch, lots of great Marvel Snap content, friends. King of Canada, JJ on Twitch and YouTube. Then Matt Falcon on the YouTube side of things. Father Newman, Twitch and YouTube. Jonesy snapped. Most underrated Marvel Snap YouTube. 2 ties for the 4th of July's. Yeah, you got a new thing. Lauren Whatevs, congrats, my friend. I'm glad to hear that everything went amazingly well. You deserve every moment. The Pirate King, Tucker, on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, sorry, Lauren Whatevs is also on the Snap on this podcast. And of course, Gunny T, who ran the damn tournament, where the T stands for. I'll see you tomorrow for another video, and hopefully tonight on stream too. Peace.